If you saw a rat in your home, your barn, or your chicken coop, I need you to understand something before you do anything else. You do not have just one rat. For every rat you see in the daylight, there are dozens you will never see. Behind your walls, under your floor, in the dark attic of the barn where they live and multiply while you sleep. The one that ran across the floor and made you jump is the boldest one, the hungriest one, or the one being pushed out by the nest that is growing behind it. A pair of rats left alone with food and shelter can multiply into hundreds before the end of the year. They will chew through your grain sacks, your electrical wiring, your beams. A rat's teeth never stop growing, so it never stops chewing. They contaminate 10 times more food than they eat, and they carry diseases you do not want near your family. This is not a problem you can ignore, and it is not a problem that requires a pest control company charging you a monthly fee for the rest of your life. I learned to solve this the way the elders of my Buddhist tradition always solved it, with $2, with attention, and with the wisdom that modern pesticide companies do not want you to discover. Before we continue, tell me in the comments where you are watching from, city, country, anywhere in the world, and tell me if you have already seen signs of rats in your space. Click subscribe now and turn on the notification bell, and let us begin. Let me tell you why most people who have a rat problem keep having a rat problem months after they tried to solve it. Not because rats are invincible, but because the solutions the market sells were designed to treat the symptom, not the cause. And there is a lot of money in keeping you buying treatments for a problem that is never truly resolved. The snap trap is not a bad tool. I have nothing against it, but it catches one rat and then it sits there until you go reset it. If you have a real infestation, you would need 50 of them spread across the property, tending them all every day. And here is something about rats that most people do not know. They are smart and they are deeply suspicious of anything new. A rat does not trust a strange object that appeared in its path. It will walk around it for days before it works up the nerve to touch it. Animal trainers have a fancy word for it, neophobia, the fear of new things. A rat has it badly. So your snap trap sits there untouched while the rats keep breeding. The poison is worse, and I will be direct about why. Poison is slow. The rat eats it, then wanders off and dies somewhere you cannot reach. Inside your wall, under your floor, up in the insulation. And then you have a dead animal rotting in a place you cannot get to, stinking up your house for 2 weeks, attracting flies. And the poison does not stay where you put it. A rat can carry a chunk of it away. A cat, a dog, an owl, a hawk can eat a poisoned rat. The animals that are doing the rat killing work for you die along with the rats. Poison is off the table. The glue trap catches the rat but does not kill it. And what you have is an animal stuck, suffering, that you still need to kill or release, and the trap is blocked for any other. Pest control companies know all of this. They know that the poison in the sealed box they put on your property does nothing about the hole in your foundation, the open feed bag in the barn, the dripping water that rats need to survive. They know, and they put poison anyway, because poison that does not solve the problem at the root guarantees you will call again next month. The entire business model is built on the problem never truly ending. The Buddhist tradition has a teaching about this, that any solution that attacks only the surface manifestation of a problem while ignoring the root is condemned to produce the same result over and over. A rat in a barn is not a rat problem. It is an accessible food problem, an available water problem, and an unpatched hole problem. Solve those three things, and you solve the rat. Ignore those three things, and buy poison forever. It is that simple, and it is exactly that simplicity that pesticide companies do not want you to discover. Now I am going to show you the trap, and I want you to understand, before any technical detail, that this solution has hundreds of years of existence. It was not invented yesterday by a pest control startup. It was passed down from generation to generation by people who needed solutions that truly worked, that had no recurring cost, and that did not poison the animals and children around them. You will need a 5-gallon bucket, the kind you use to mix paint or carry feed. Any bucket about that size will do. Across the top of it, you place a bar that can spin, and there are a few ways to make it. The oldest way is to take a soda can or a small metal cylinder and run a stiff wire or a thin metal rod straight through the middle of it, end to end, like an axle. You rest that wire across the rim of the bucket so the can hangs in the middle and spins freely when anything touches it. You smear a little peanut butter right in the center of the can. Then you lean a board up against the side of the bucket like a little ramp so a rat can climb from the floor up to the rim. That is the entire trap: a bucket, a spinning can on a wire, a dab of peanut butter, and a ramp. The rat smells the peanut butter, and a rat can smell peanut butter from clear across a barn. It climbs the ramp, gets to the rim, sees the bait sitting there in the middle of that can, and steps out onto the can to reach it. The moment it puts its weight on the can spins, and the rat drops straight down into the bucket. The can spins right back to where it started, ready for the next one. The rat cannot climb back out. The walls are too tall and too smooth. There is nothing to grip. And here is the part that makes this better than any snap trap. It resets itself every single time. One bucket can catch a dozen rats in a single night because every rat that climbs up and steps onto the can resets the trap for the next one. You are not running around resetting 50 traps. You set one bucket and let it work all night while you sleep. Now you have a choice to make about that bucket, and I want to be honest with you about it. You can run it dry or you can run it wet. If you put a few inches of water in the bottom, the rat that falls in will drown, and in the morning, you will have a bucket of dead rats to bury or burn. That is the way the oldest farmers did it, and it is effective and requires no tending. But if it troubles you to drown an animal, and it troubles some people, and I understand that, you can run the bucket dry. Leave the water out. The rats fall in and cannot climb out, and in the morning, you have a bucket of live rats. Then you carry the bucket well away from your property, at least a mile, or they will come right back, and you let them go. It takes more work, and you have to check it every morning so they do not suffer in there, but it is the gentler way, and it works just the same for the catching. The Buddhist tradition teaches the principle of ahimsa: do not cause unnecessary suffering to any living being. Each person decides what is right for their own situation. What is not right is ignoring the problem while the rats multiply and contaminate the space your family lives in. The trap is the part everyone wants to see. But I need to tell you the truth the way the elders always taught me. The trap does not solve your rat problem. The trap cleans up the rats you already have. If you do not do the other half, you will be emptying that bucket forever because new rats will keep coming as fast as you catch the old ones. The real work, the work that actually ends a rat problem, is taking away the two things a rat cannot live without: food and water. A rat can squeeze through a hole the size of a quarter, climb a brick wall, swim up a drain. You cannot keep them out by force, but you can make your place somewhere there is nothing to eat and nothing to drink, and a rat will not stay where it cannot feed. Every bit of grain, every feed bag, every package of flour or cornmeal goes into metal, not plastic. A rat chews through plastic like it is bread. Metal cans with tight-fitting lids or metal bins. If a rat cannot get into your food, you have taken away the main reason it came. You do not leave feed out overnight. You feed the chickens what they will eat, and what is left you put away. The dog dish comes in at night. Spilled grain gets swept up, not left on the floor. A rat lives on what you waste. Stop wasting it where it can reach, and you have cut off its living. And water. A rat needs to drink and needs to often. Fix the dripping spigot. Fix the leak under the trough. Do not leave standing water sitting out. Take away its drink and you have shortened its life and driven it to look elsewhere. Then close what you can. Walk your barn, your foundation, your shed in the daylight and look for the holes. You will find them because rats leave a mark. A dark, greasy smudge around the holes they use, from the oil in their fur rubbing the same spot day after day. The old people called them rub marks. Where you see a rub mark, you have found a rat highway. Stuff those holes with steel wool packed tight, or cover them with hardware cloth, or patch them with metal. A rat will chew through wood and foam and plastic, but it cannot chew through steel. Take away the food, take away the water, close the holes, and run your bucket to clean out the ones already there. That is the entire system. That is how a space stays clear of rats without a drop of poison and without a monthly bill that never ends. The Buddhist tradition teaches that the most lasting solution to any problem is the one that removes the conditions that allowed the problem to exist. Rats are not the problem. The conditions that attract them are the problem. Solve solve the conditions, and the rats simply have no reason to stay. I want to tell you about something that goes beyond any product or technique. Something alive. Something that works every night without you having to ask. Something the pest control industry will never sell you because there is no way to charge a monthly fee for it. A cat. Not a pampered apartment cat, a working hunter, a natural predator that knows the barn like the back of its paw, and that patrols that territory with a dedication no trap will ever replicate. The oldest masters of my tradition always kept 2 or 3 good hunters in the barns and storage spaces, not only because they catch rats, but because the smell of a cat alone is enough to send rats looking for somewhere else to live. A rat is no fool. It knows a cat patrols that ground and moves its nest somewhere safer. A good cat is worth more than any trap and any poison, and it works every night for the price of a little food and a dry place to sleep. I will be honest, a cat alone will not clear out a heavy infestation quickly. When the rats have already taken over, you need the bucket and the ceiling and the elimination of food and water all at once to break the problem quickly. But once you have driven them back, a cat or two is what keeps them gone year after year with no work from you at all. The owls that nest in barns do the same job at night from the air. Providence gave us the rat catchers already made. We just have to keep them around and let them do what they were made to do. There is a Buddhist teaching about the interdependence of all beings, that every creature occupies a place in the web of life, and that when you work with that web instead of against it, problems resolve themselves in ways that no artificial intervention can replicate. The cat and the owl and the hawk are not pest control tools. They are beings with their own nature, their own function in the balance of the world. And when you create the conditions for that nature to express itself freely in your space, you benefit from an efficiency that millions of years of evolution refined in ways no laboratory can imitate. Think about who profits when you have rats. The pest control company profits, and profits most when the problem never quite ends. You call them, they come, they put poison in sealed boxes and sign you up for a contract. Every month or every quarter, someone comes to refill the poison and sends you a bill. If the poison truly ended your rat problem for good, you would not need the monthly visit. The entire business is built on the rats coming back. The poison kills the ones that ate it, but does nothing about the hole in your foundation, the open feed bag, or the dripping spigot, the things that brought the rats in the first place. So the rats come back, and the bill comes back, and you pay it month after month, year after year. That is not an accident. That is the business model. There is a simple truth that the elders understood without ever needing to put it in sophisticated words, and that the modern pest control industry has spent decades trying to hide from you, not with lies, but with distraction. A rat problem is not really a rat problem. It is an accessible food problem and an available water problem and holes that nobody patched. The industry sells you a chemical answer to what is really a space management answer, because there is no money in telling you to sweep up spilled grain and seal your foundation and keep a cat. Nobody can sell you a monthly contract to do that for you effectively, so they sell poison. Poison that treats the symptom, never the cause, and that guarantees you keep buying. The tradition passed down to me, from master to student, from generation to generation, never paid for rat control because it never needed to. We sealed the grain, we fixed the leaks, we patched the holes, we kept the cats. And when the rats got ahead of us anyway, we set a bucket and let it work for free. $2 and a little attention against a bill that never ends. That is the choice once you see it clearly. And seeing clearly is the first teaching of any wisdom tradition. Because you cannot solve a problem you are not seeing correctly. You were seeing rats. What you needed to see was open food, available water, and unpatched holes. Now you see both. And now you can truly solve it. Ancestral wisdom is not old because it is primitive. It is old because it passed the test that no marketing campaign can replicate, the test of time. Every technique that survives for generations in a practical tradition survived because it worked repeatedly in real conditions with real resources for real people who had no margin to waste money on solutions that did not deliver results. The bucket with the spinning can has existed for centuries, not because nobody invented something better, but because nothing invented afterward delivered superior results without the cost and complications that modern solutions carry. $2, one night, a dozen rats caught without poison, without risk to the animals around you, without a monthly bill. And the complete system, bucket plus ceiling plus elimination of food and water plus cat, solves the problem for good instead of managing the symptom indefinitely. That is what ancestral wisdom offers. Not magic, not esoteric secret, just attention to the real causes of problems and precise responses that attack those causes directly. It is simpler than any app or product you can buy, and that is exactly why it works. So here's what I want you to do this week. Not next week, this week. Tonight, after dark, go quietly into your barn or your basement or wherever you have heard them and just listen. You will hear them moving. In the morning, take a flashlight and look for the rub marks, those dark, greasy smudges around the holes. That tells you where they travel. Then set your bucket. A 5-gallon bucket, a tin can on a wire across the top spinning freely, a dab of peanut butter in the center, a board as a ramp. Wet if you have the stomach for it, dry if you would rather carry them away. Set it right on the path where you saw the rub marks, against a wall where they run. Set 2 or 3 buckets if the infestation is bad. Let them work all night. While the buckets do their work, do the real work. Put every bit of feed and grain into metal with a tight lid. Sweep up the spills, fix the leaks, and pour out the standing water. Pack steel wool into every hole you found. And if you do not have a cat, go find yourself a good barn cat from a farm or a shelter. There are more than enough that need a home and a job. Do all of it together. The bucket without the system just empties forever. The system without the bucket leaves you with the rats you already have. Together, they end it all. This week, for the price of a bucket, no poison, and no monthly bill. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from and whether you have already seen signs of rats in your space, rub marks, dropping, sounds at night. I read every comment. Press the like button if this teaching was useful. Click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. May your space be clean, safe, and free tonight. And may the wisdom that cross generations reach you at exactly the right moment.